But the world keeps turning like it's meant to do. And time don't wait, it just carries you through.
All right.
I've had good days.
Good
and a
morning,
few
everyone.
slip away.
Good early morning on a Saturday, and welcome to Senior Talk, brought to you by, well, us, right? I'm filling in, as you know, for Miss Clara Hubbard, and I'm proud to do so. And I'm LaDonna Ray. Today, we're going to be talking with a woman who has spent more than 4 decades building homes, businesses, careers, and opportunities. Her name is Roxanna Rocky Daniel. She is the founder and co-founder of Taj Development Company. Now, hear me out. This show has really done some therapeutic things for me. Those therapeutic things have been I'm a caregiver, you're a caregiver, you have cared for many. I'm a pre-senior. You're in, you may be a senior already, or you may not be already. But what I have noticed is each and every week that we do this show, I think about one more thing that I need to do to prepare for being a senior. Things that I need to do to continue being active, because I watched my father retire. I've watched neighbors retire. I've watched people retire. And I don't think that that's synonymous with senior. Senior is simply a certain threshold of age. And then I would say like a mindset that kicks in and says, all right, I want the rest of my life to be the best of my life. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we take our summers for granted. I've had quite a few summers behind me, and who knows if I'm going to have those same number of summers in front of me. So I want to get ready to enjoy each and every one of them, because come June 21st, it will be summer again. And I want to live it to the fullest. So joining me today is, as I mentioned, Miss or should I say, Miss Roxanna Rocky Daniel. Her journey has been when you look back over 40 years in trades. It's something to think about, because you have done so many things, and when you get used to it, you just keep going and you keep going. And I think that life has a way of allowing you to, I don't know, it, should I say, appreciate it when you get to a certain point in your life. Good morning, Miss Roxanna Rocky Daniel. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Senior Talk.
Thank you so much for having me, Miss LaDonna. Miss Strutter, you were strutting across that Florida. How are you this morning?
Man, I'm doing swell-tastic, and I was so happy to have had a conversation with you. Just the fact that you were in the room, and let me just paint the picture for everyone. We were at a convention this week, and it's one of those powerful conventions where you go, you don't know quite what to expect. But the one thing that's always a surprise is who's in the room. The panelists, they kind of give you a rollout. You see what they're going to be talking about, topic of discussion. But the people in the room, those are the surprises. And I just want to say shout out to you, because when you raised your hand and said you poured concrete, I was like, okay, so what am I talking about? There was a moment on the stage when the speaker was asking who poured concrete. Her name was Kathleen. What was her last name?
You know what? I don't know. I don't remember her last name. I know the woman that was with her very well. She's in real estate, and we shared an office. And that's Queen Bee.
Yeah.
Tina Powers, and she was there. But that was the first time I met her. I can't remember her last name. I have that. I'm at that age where my brain kind of freezes. I call them brain poops every now and then.
Well, I tell you what. That's why I call myself a pre-senior, because those moments they don't happen as often. Yeah, they do come.
Listen, when they come, they come. So. I don't remember her last name, but
no, that's fine.
What the question was anybody ever did ground up building?
Yeah.
Ground up building is, foundation, footings, You dig a hole, you put your foundation in, you put your footings in, and then you build a house or you build a structure. So that was actually the question. And yes,
And it was impressive because not many people raise their hands. A lot of people raise their hands about, so they were talking about real estate, how what type of real estate you can purchase, look into investment, development, not just run of the mill, okay, first time home buyer, okay, but they read the room. They knew who was going to come. And when they talked about how development begins and what to look for and what type of lending is available, and I saw you raise your hand. Here's the thing. I never thought about being a developer. I never thought about, well, I did think about investment real estate, but at the same time, that's not what I do. But I saw you like you're active and you've been doing this thing. And not only that, you've been doing this for 40 years or over 40 years in the trades. Or I want to ask you, in the past 40 years, uh, before I get to that question, because I want to ask you what moment you realized that this wasn't just a job. Tell us about who you are, Roxanna.
oh, I don't think we have time for that, but because it's very extensive. I am, first off, a creation by a creator that was very specific and very intentional in making me. So that encompasses quite a bit. Grandmother, a mother, a great grandmother, a sister, a daughter, a aunt, a cousin. I'm many a friend. I'm many things, and a serial entrepreneur. So it's and sometimes the worst force you want to see, depending on how I'm feeling. So
Hmm.
there's a lot that encompasses me. There's quite a bit.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I am 64. I'll be 65 in October. This month is my month for Medicare.
Yeah.
Medicare.
Right?
I'm getting the Medicare letters in the mail now. Which sometimes amazes me because my mind doesn't say it, but my body does, based upon the work that I've done through the years. Sometimes you can feel, my knees and my hips don't always agree with me every day, but my mind is different because I try to stay around young folks, and so
Right.
it helps quite a bit.
I'm glad you mentioned that you try to stay around young people because there's definitely a disconnect in our senior population and our younger population, depending on how young you want to go. But with you trying to, keep yourself surrounded by them, do you find yourself having a relationship with them so that they can easily or be more easily communicated with versus what I've seen, what I've witnessed is that we have a population of people that still feel the old school way of communicating with young people. And that is just jumping in there in the most direct way without having a relationship already existing and expecting them to do what it is that comes out of your mouth. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Because if you ask my granddaughter, I've got it. I'm that person, right?
Hmm.
However, if you ask young folks that I encounter on a regular, I listen. I don't try to direct unless I'm asked. That's the first thing. Because I remember growing up, and I grew up on what they now call Bronzeville, but it was 47th Street, 47th
Sure.
and now it's a lot of, and I was blessed that my grandmother worked in Grady's Pharmacy, and all of the neighborhood guys, the older folks, would come in and eat, and she'd cook for them. So I would watch, and I remember listening to them and how they would tell us, you're doing this and I don't do that. And it happened to you. It won't happen to me, that type of attitude.
Mm.
And I see it now with them. So I try to be mindful that I don't become that person that tell them what their destiny is based upon what little bit I see in them, because I don't know.
Mhm.
And those folks didn't know what my destiny was. So I try to be mindful in how I do it. Last night at that, after everybody left, they had the content creators part of that summit for the SDA, the Southland Development Authority, which this conference is amazing, right? And this year they had the young folks portion at the end. So I stayed and I kind of listened and how they talk. And some older folk were like, no, I don't like how they talking. I don't like any of this. Why did you do this? To me, it was amazing watching the development of these young entrepreneurs, 18 to the mid 20s, and listening and learning from them. Because bottom line is our day of development and creation is not over, but what they're building is beyond where we are.
Right. And they kind of got to take it from here. You almost have to pass them the torch. Yeah.
And in order for them to do that, you have to give them the room to breathe. So, I don't try to smother them. I try to listen. And if I see something that I innately feel like, okay, I need to step up here, I try to step up. And if they tell me to step back, guess what it's supposed to do?
Step back.
Step back.
Yeah.
I step back. And I'm not offended. I'm not offended because this world is no longer my world, so to speak, but it's the world that they have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, each day that we get up, we all of us have more days behind us than we have in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Hence those summers I was talking about.
And that's exactly what you said. Enjoy your summers. Chicago in the spring and the summer is the best. However, the winter is something to be reckoned with unless you like that kind of weather. But yeah. So the thing with young people is to listen and learn. YOLO and FAFO, and I have to go in and Google these sayings so that I can understand what they're saying. Because most importantly, I want to understand them and what their desires are and how I can help. Because that's what I want to be, a helpmate.
I had to think about those for a second because I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting you. Those of you listening, she just gave the acronyms for fear of missing out and you only live once. I had to really think about that. It was the first time I heard it. That was when I realized, wait a minute, I might be a pre-senior for real because I should know these things. When did you realize? When did I know you said you started getting the things in the mail and things like that, but how did you prepare for your big day? 65 is right around the corner.
I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I just got up every day, and even today, sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying to myself, "Who's the face in the mirror?" The wrinkles and the thought process that's coming along, like the memories of days of old.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought, and I'm like young folks right now. If you look at them, I'm not thinking about. I wasn't thinking as I walked through life about getting old, so to speak. I was just living my life. Mm-hmm. And for my generation, I'm a 60s baby and I grew up in the 70s and 80s. For my generation, we come out of the Reagan era.
Yeah.
So you had that whole economic plight of the Black community through Reagan's import and export, and I'm trying not to get too political about that, but you grew up in that. If you came through that 80s era, then that there was house music, and there was from disco to house music, and you just lived and you enjoyed, and that was my era, right? And now today the kids' era is the social media and instant gratification. And so I didn't think about all of that. I just lived and did what I did. And then one day I got a call from my mom and I became a caregiver. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, I was burying her. Mm-hmm. And the next thing I was looking and I was saying, I'm the eldest of 6. And when I say the eldest, I don't mean by a few years. My sister under me is 9 years younger than I am. And then my brother under her is 11 years. And then it goes 15, 16, 17-year spread, right?
Mm-hmm,
So this
mm-hmm.
is generational spread. So I'm sitting there, and after my mom got sick and she passed, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm like, what's next for me? And I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm losing too much weight. These wrinkles is so. I'm like, I think I'm losing weight too fast because my face is wrinkled, and so I tried to gain the weight back. And this literal. So I tried to gain the weight back, and then I'm like, okay, the wrinkles didn't go. Heifer, you getting old? Your skin don't
Wow.
have electricity anymore. That's when I realized it. I was like, okay, my skin isn't bouncing back, and my thought process changed.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, how I looked at things, and I found myself getting agitated more. And I'm like, why am I less tolerant? And I saw my mom. I thought about my mom, and I remember when my mom turned into her 60s, because I remember she got cranky and grumpy, right? I was
Yeah.
like, she didn't used to be like that. Why is she so mean now? So I found myself getting mean. I found myself becoming my mother, right? And that's when I started to realize that the aging process was happening.
Ah,
And that made me take a look back and say, okay, you need to be conscious of how you're moving in this world now,
yeah.
and not take for granted those very few moments that you have to learn and grow. Never stop learning.
Oh, that's right
Right?
there. That's I wish
Stop learning.
everybody I want to tell my kids that, like they're as they watch me get into the senior years. And I want to tell them to never stop learning. I always tell them that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to emerging senior Roxanna Rocky Daniel. She is the founder of Taj Development Company. The reason that we're talking to her this morning, or to you this morning, Miss Rocky, is because you're still doing it. You're still getting out there and getting stuff done and moving around and networking with people. Um, I want to ask you real quick, because guys, you can give us a call, 773-591-1690, just in case you want to put your comments in on the phone, or you can put your comments in on Facebook. You can share the show and put your comments in on Facebook. But what age was old to you? What age was old to you? That solid number that said, "Oh my goodness, that's old."
Depend on what age I was thinking about it.
Right.
Because when in my teen years, 30 was old.
Mm.
In my 30s, I remember seeing people, and I thought 50 was kind of up there. And then I remember when I turned 40, I was looking at the Oprah Winfrey show, and she had a program on about turning 50,
Mm-hmm.
and she was turning 50, and I thought 50 was old. And then when I turned 50, it became more like 80s. The 80s and 90s became older. So
Yeah.
now, today, old is, I don't know, I don't think about old in terms of an aging process. I think about old in terms of how you move in this life. You
Love it.
know,
Well, for
do
the
you
next,
get up and make movement?
that's right. That's right. All right. I can tell you what. In the last, when you look back over the last 40 years in trades, what was the moment you realized that it's not just a job, or it wasn't just a job? It was your life's work. That's what you do. That is what you're going to be a part of as far as the industry.
That happened around 2012, 2014, when Obama was president, and he put out these funds, $400 million in energy education. He in Illinois. He gave the money to nonprofits, and they started doing training in building sciences, green building. And my company at that time became partnered with an organization called the Black Star Project, and we trained about
Phil
100.
Jackson.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
We trained about, God bless him, rest his soul.
Yeah.
We trained about 168 different people in weatherization. We were a part of the group that brought in the NCCER from the Quad Cities. They were doing it first, and then we came in and we started it. And now it's a major thing in the city. But I watched the individuals that came in, and I knew at that time when we were training them, I said to myself, and Phil and I talked about it, I said, Phil, when we get done as a construction owner, I could not afford to hire these guys and pay them these union wages that they're going to want us to pay with the skill set that they have. And this was one of the demands that were being made for the graduates. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew then that I was good. This was going to be my second part. So construction is the first part of my life, and now I'm going into the second chapter where I'm a co-founder of a group called Together We Build Better.
Yeah.
And it's a cooperative of construction industry trade professionals. I'm the only contractor at present, but there's accountants and project managers
Oh,
and
yeah.
estimators
Yeah.
and things like that. So we're building this with a group called Builders Avenue. But I knew at that point, working with Phil Jackson, that this was going to be my life's work, and I was going to do it differently. And how I'm doing that differently, and that's why I partner with the SDA and Bo Kemp and all of them. That's a beautiful organization there as well, and other organizations here in the city. But I know that I knew then with Phil that this chapter of my life is going to be about passing on the knowledge. You know, I tell everybody I
To
got a
other
PhD
people. Yeah.
in instruction of what
Mm-hmm.
not to do. So call me Dr. Rocky, what not to do in construction to be a success.
I love that. I love that. We got a couple of callers. I want to go ahead and pick up Ron. Hey, Ron, good morning. You're on Senior Talk.
Yeah, good morning, LaDonna, and to your guest,
Rocky.
Miss
Yes.
Ross. Yeah, good morning, Miss Rocky. Well, you know,
Good
you
morning.
mentioned the word old, but you're a perfect example of the difference between old and aging. So we all going to age, hopefully, if you're gonna stick around. So I am in my 60s, so I am aging. I never think of the word old because if we are constantly evolving, we are new. We are learning new things. Look at you. You're learning new things. So I just wanted to contrast that. I don't say I'm old. I do say, you know, me and all my contemporaries, we're not in denial. You know, I'm going to wait till my doctor's office now, but we're aging and we want to age with good health. But we don't want to say that we necessarily are old if we continue to learn new things in this world. And thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Ron. Let's go to Darva. Hey, Darva, good morning. You're on Senior Talk.
Yeah, God bless everyone. Yahweh is doing some great things coming our way. Just get ready for this. I love the young lady, Rocky, and in construction. I'm in construction also as a project construction manager. But what I want to say to her is that everything she was saying when I was listening about every age she thought was old. So when I got in my 30s, I didn't want to be 40. But when I was a young teenager, I used to put my age up. And so my friend said, why you always put your age up? I don't know why I was doing that, I guess to get jobs or do different things. But then when I got 40, I was like, God, I want to be 40. I want to be 40. And so what happened when I got 40, oh, man, that was a bad thing for me because I kept speaking it. I don't want to be 40. I'm going to be old, this and that. And so when I got 40, I went through some challenges, but I had to come through them because God wanted me to know that, baby, you might live to be 100. So don't worry about being 40. But every year, every decade, every year I didn't want to be the next age. And so now I'm 68 this year. And so what I'm saying to everybody is that when people see me, they think I'm 45. And they said, your voice sounds like you young. And I said, well, I was young, but now I'm old. And that's what the world is teaching us. But what I want, the world is teaching us and the word of God. But what I want to do, everybody, and I got my comedian, Donna, on his phone, Donna, that to say that I want the older seniors to get involved with what you are doing, and what I would help you to do is to let them know that they can also get healed, saved, and delivered. They can also get the right things that they need at their age, because this is what I'm going to say. I believe that our entities are not really supporting the seniors, male and female, like they should, not just in the nursing homes, in every entity. And so we have a seniors organization for people that are 60 and over. And LaDonna, I just want to say to you, Miss Ray, that we need to make seniors feel. I know some of them do, some are, elected officials, but our seniors, to me, this is just my opinion, are being neglected in different entities, which is another different story, but we still need to make sure that our mothers and grandmothers and great-grandparents are being taken care of. And that's what I would like to do in my older age.
Ms. Darva, I love that you said that. Make sure, can you email me? Do you have email access?
I have 12 email addresses. What's your email? LaDonna, go ahead.
Look, I have to check, man. I'm being sensitive. LaDonna@WVON.com. Let's talk about that, because I think
LaDonna, spell it for me, so because I can spell it.
No problem. LA, LA is LA. D is in David. ONNA. That's Nancy Apple at WVON.com.
Okay, I'm gonna do it right now. Love you guys. Thank you for
Love you more. Did you hear that, Rocky? First of all, I love that she brought up that seniors aren't just in the nursing homes, and do we not think about that when you think of a senior? Because I was talking to my son. You think of a senior, you think of that. You think of, someone who is ill, who is on a walker, in a wheelchair, in a nursing home. The vision is not accurate. But when you become a senior, you realize, I remember when I turned 40, I thought I wanted to stay awake till midnight. And I thought my hands were going to change or something. I swear. And I fell asleep. I woke up at 2 a.m. and I had turned 40. And I was like, oh, I still look the same. I just thought some type of look was going to kick in. But your closing thoughts on being an emerging senior, you reminded us that age is not a limitation. It's really an asset. And I really want to thank you for really showing us that experience, wisdom, and purpose can continue to grow long after people expect us to slow down. Your final thoughts before we let you go.
Just be kind. If we're kind to ourselves, right? Then we can be kind to the people around us. Be mindful of how you are appearing in life, how you are appearing to young folks. Remember that their youth is what you are given the wisdom to help them navigate. And do it with kindness and compassion. If we're going to preach and speak the words of whatever God's name we're going to use, then we need to appear as that. And that is the compassionate being. God is not harsh. The Creator is not judgmental, as we have become in this nation, in this world. Be kind to yourself so that you can be kind to everybody else that you encounter. That's it.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Rocky. I know we're gonna keep in touch, because I keep in touch with all my senior friends. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us and painting a picture for us on Senior Talks on WVON. Everybody, make sure and you too, Rocky, make sure you download the app. We have a WVON app that you can download and keep us in your back pocket on your cell phones, right?
All right.
All right. Say that again.
Is that a part of iHeart?
We are on iHeart. Yes, we are on iHeart, but the app is separate from iHeart. So if you download the app, you can get our should I say broadcast directly, no matter where you are.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ms. O'Donnell. You have a fantastic rest of your Sunday.
You do the same. All right, guys. Coming up next, our friends from Chicago's Commons will join us with resources and information designed to help seniors live healthier, fuller, and more connected lives. Stay with us. Senior Talk continues right after this.
And Senior Talk coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey, Chicago. Are you looking for a place where your loved one can receive the care and support they deserve? Chicago Commons offers adult day services in the heart of Bronzeville, providing a vibrant and caring community center for seniors and adults with disabilities, and that includes meals, transportation, and engaging activities. We also offer a home care program throughout the Chicagoland area that ensures your loved ones get the support they need right at home. If you're interested in Chicago Commons Senior Services, where compassionate care meets your community, call us today at 773-373-5055.
All right, guys, joining us now is Terrence Santos de la Rosa Sims, the Vice President of Senior Services from Chicago Commons. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Before we get into our discussion today, Madonna, today I'm not speaking from the perspective of being a senior myself. I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who has been blessed to spend decades in conversations with older adults through my work, through my community, and through my own family. Over the years, I've had thousands of conversations with seniors about their joys, fears, hopes, losses, accomplishments, and dreams. Those conversations have taught me some of life's most important lessons. What I share today comes from those experiences and from the tremendous respect that I have for the generation that has given us all so much.
I totally understand it. And I'm glad you shared that with us. We spend a lot of time talking about services and programs and resources, like you said, and those things are important. But if we're going to do this well for our listeners, let's talk about people. What does it feel like to grow older in a world that seems to move faster every day? Or even what does wisdom look like when you're overseeing everything that has to do with your loved ones as they age? What can younger generations learn from their elders? What are seniors really talking about when nobody is handing them a microphone, I guess in their own time or at their own pace?
Let me say this. What I would want people to understand, and what I really want seniors to understand from my perspective, is that I want them to know that they have not been forgotten. The world may move faster than it once did. Technology changes overnight. The pace of life can sometimes make people feel as though they are left behind. But after thousands of conversations with seniors, I've come to understand something important. Wisdom never goes out of style. The lives you live, the challenges you've overcome, the families you've raised, the careers you've built, the communities you've strengthened, and the lessons you've learned are treasures that cannot be replaced. One of the things that concerns me most is that society often celebrates youth while overlooking experience. And yet, whenever I sit down, or I have sat down with seniors in the past and I hear their stories, I'm reminded that some of our life's greatest knowledge comes from the classroom. But from decades, it doesn't just come from the classroom, but it comes from decades of living. Your value is not determined by how much you can do from day to day. Your value is found in who you are, what you've contributed, the impact you've made on countless lives along the way. And the truth is that many of us are standing where we are today because of the sacrifices and efforts of your generation. And for that, we owe you not only gratitude, but so much respect.
Wow. Technology moves really fast. Culture changes fast. And sometimes they feel left behind. What are we hearing from seniors about that?
A lot of times when we think about the services as it impacts the world moving faster, right? This is one of the most heartfelt concerns that I hear a lot of times, is that many seniors spend much of their lives caring for others. They were providers, they were caregivers, they were protectors, they were problem solvers. So when they begin needing support themselves, it can feel uncomfortable or even frightening. What I often share is that needing support is not the same as losing independence. In fact, the right support often preserves independence. Our goal is never to take over someone's life. Our goal is to help people continue living the life that they want to live with confidence, dignity, choice. That means listening first. It means respecting seniors' preferences, honoring their routines, and recognizing that they are still fully capable of making decisions about their own lives.
What have seniors taught you about loneliness?
That loneliness is one of the most human experiences we can have. Missing someone you love is not a weakness. It is evidence of how deeply you care. But I would also remind them that that connection is still possible. Sometimes people think overcoming loneliness requires making a dramatic change. In reality, healing often begins with very small incremental steps. It might be calling a friend. It might be attending a community gathering. It might be visiting a senior center, a place of worship, a local event, or simply having a conversation with a neighbor. I've seen lives literally transform because someone took one small step towards connection. And that's just not seniors, that's everyday people. One of the most beautiful things that I've learned from seniors is that while loss changes us, it doesn't eliminate our capacity to give and to receive love. There are still people who need your wisdom. There are still people who would benefit from hearing your stories. There are still friendships waiting to be formed. If you're listening today and feel alone, please remember this. Your story is not over. The chapters behind you may be filled with memories, but there are still chapters ahead that can be filled with purpose, friendship, laughter, and meaning. And as long as there's another day in front of us, there's another opportunity for connection, and there will always be a reason to hope.
What role does purpose play in, say, healthy aging?
There have been many moments, right? And I don't have to take you through a story that kind of leads to purpose. There have been many moments, but one lesson appears to me from my experience again and again, and I think hope for our listeners today. I've met seniors who have endured losses that most people would find unimaginable. They've lost spouses after decades of marriage. They've buried loved ones. They face health challenges, financial hardships, and periods of profound loneliness. Yet somehow, many of them continue to move forward with remarkable grace. You know, I remember speaking with a senior, an older woman who had lost her husband after more than 60 years of being together. She told me, I'll never forget, she said, I never thought that I would have to learn how to live life without him. She was referring to her husband. At first, her grief felt overwhelming, but over time, she began reconnecting with others. She started sharing stories, mentoring younger people, reaching out to friends who were struggling. And one day she said something I'll never forget as well. She said, the love we shared didn't end when he left. She said, I carry it with me every day, which reminds me of a quote I read many years ago, is that to live in the hearts of those who love you is to never die. That statement taught me something really profound, is that resilience is not the absence of pain. Resilience is finding a way to carry pain while continuing to live with purpose. To your question, the seniors I've met have shown me that strength is often quiet. It's not found in grand gestures all the time. It's found in getting up each morning, choosing hope, sharing wisdom, and continuing to love despite life's hardships.
What are some things that seniors wish their children and grandchildren understood about getting older?
You know, seniors spend much of their lives, really focusing and helping others. And, you ask yourself as you get older sometimes, if you could look back on your younger self, what would you say to yourself? And I've had these conversations throughout the years with many different people in many different capacities. And the resounding theme has always been, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. And, I know that's oftentimes easier said than done. However, it is going to be okay. Because regardless of the outcome, whether you can control it or not, it's still going to be okay. Even if you have to pivot, even if you have to problem solve. I don't look at problems as being something that's fixed in nature. Solutions finds problems don't find solutions. So I think for young people, they would really say, hey, take your time. The best progress is made slowly. You're not in a rush to get where you need to be, especially if you're going in the wrong direction. And if you don't know what direction that you're going in, any road will get you there.
How do you think seniors continue moving forward?
I wrote something a while ago. I'm a writer and I'm a poet. And I think what I realized about grieving, because we all grieve, it's not an age thing. Once upon a time, at least when I was growing up, age was synonymous with, well, death was synonymous with older age, 80, 90, 100, if you were blessed to live beyond those years. But in today's times, unfortunately, people have really passed away at various ages, 20, 30, 40, 50. I don't think death discriminates. But what I'll say is this about grieving, right? And I've learned this, and LaDonna, I'm sure you unfortunately lost some people in your lives that you may have been close to, but grieving is forever. It's not a time period. It's the price of love when we no longer have a loved one to share our lives with. Initially, grieving brings the innate feeling of anger and sadness. Later, you find that grief can bring you strength that fills spaces that were once empty. Grieving allows you to have a badge of honor and care. It allows you the capacity to expand gratitude that may have once been taken for granted. Finding purpose in that grief, I think, really helps us to expand our love for others. And I think that's what we learn in the midst of, hardship and people passing away and you lose people. But you have to reconnect, even seniors who have lost a lot of their friends, if not the majority of their friends, and they're the last man or woman standing, if you still have someone close to you, family, neighbors, like I mentioned earlier, senior centers, connecting with other people, because, God didn't put us here to be alone. We were here meant to connect with one another in some capacity, whether that's in companionship, friendship, marriage, whatever the case may be. So those are my thoughts on that.
Well, everybody, thank you so much. Terrence Santos De La Rosa Sims, VP of Senior Services from Chicago Commons.
You can give us a call at 773-373-5055, or you can reach us on the web at www.chicagocommons.org.
And now back to Senior Talk with Clara Hubbard on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, guys, LaDonna Ray in the building. I tell you what, that was quite a conversation that I had with Terrence Santos De La Rosa Sims about just the reality of what he deals with the senior services at Chicago Commons. But I want to hear from you. If you guys want to call in, we have a few minutes left, 773-591-1690. I know we're close to 8 o'clock, but one thing that that really opened my mind up, because I wanted to talk to Rocky more about what she does in the industry and how she's thriving through it, but it turned into something else. I'll tell you that. It turned into more of wait a minute, the way that the world sees seniors, and our caller kind of pointed it out perfectly, is inaccurate. Like, I know that the seniors that I have been aligned with have been amazing for me. The ones that have given me, they give me life. They give me advice. Okay. They give me truth. She was right. At some point in your life, or you get impatient. I've experienced that. I'm a very patient person, but there are some things I'm impatient about. But that in that moment, you feel the need to just be honest, and bluntly. Not that you wouldn't be honest, but just be blunt about it and say, "Hey, listen, it's not right. It's left." Okay. But I definitely want to say that, I want to really point out the blessing that it has been to align with other seniors. Aging, senior citizen housing, friends, loneliness, that all sounds, pretty determined, I guess. But those are things that are inevitable. Like, my father right now needs a haircut. I know. I got to take my clippers over, give him a haircut. He's in a rehabilitation center. Still he's there. Thank you. But there are other determining factors when you get older. It's downsizing. Do you still need all this space? I went and looked at a house not too long ago, and they were downsizing. This house that they had was pretty spacious, but that's something that they want to retire into a smaller space. But do we even keep in mind seniors? Are we doing one level housing, a community where they don't have to climb stairs? I went out to dinner last night for a friend of mine who graduated, got his master's. Shout out to Kwame and my friends last night. but the stairs were so steep to get to the second level. All I thought about was, what if you can't get up these stairs? There's no elevator. I don't, and this is a very old restaurant. So I'm just, I'm thinking about things in a different way. Are we considering our seniors in every way possible instead of only seeing them in a nursing home or only seeing them in church or only seeing them in a facility? You all have lives too, and they keep going. They keep on going. You love music, you love dancing, possibly painting, meeting up for breakfast, having dinner, all kinds of things. I don't know who's out there still skateboarding. I'm exaggerating right now. I hadn't seen that, but it's definitely something to consider when you're building a life for a family. Think about the family that's going to emerge into being seniors one day. I love this show. It has been great talking to all of you. Please be sure to share the show on Facebook. We are on Facebook Live and YouTube. You can certainly go to our WVON page or account and channel and share and subscribe. I want to see those numbers go up because of you. We also have an app. You can download that. You can sign up for our newsletter. That's on our website, WVON.com. I know it's a lot, but I tell you what's not a lot. This weekend is the Blues Fest, and we're out there getting it in, WVON. I will be there tomorrow. My appearance will be tomorrow because I am on my way this morning to get my honorary doctorate, and I'm so excited. This day has been a long time coming. They reached out to me about 2 months ago, and I've been trying to keep it to myself and close to the vest, but today is the day, and I'm super excited. So today, right now, I am LaDonna Ray, but after noon, I will be Dr. LaDonna Ray. Oh, nothing changes though. I'm just excited about it. Guys, make sure you tune into us next week, and I'll be back for the Wake Up Show Chicago. That's our business show. But then, you can catch me, or should I say Atiba Buchanan and myself on the afternoon show, Monday through Thursday on WVON 1690. Make sure you tune in and tap in. And of course, we love you and thank you so much. And your day is coming if it hasn't come already. That's it. We've got the senior show, Senior Talk next Saturday. I'm LaDonna Ray. Bye-bye for now.
Like it's meant to do, and time don't wait, it just carries you through. I've had good days and a few slip away, had a few things work out a different way, but you live long enough, you see it's true. The things worth keeping take time to come through.